Wolfenstein, AMD versus NVIDIA, charity tournaments, and more. This is WSGF News.
Chris, Peanut as always.
And I'm Simon.
Episode 11.
Episode 11. We did that, jumped over that hump last time.
Yeah, we finally made it.
So let's jump right into it. Wolfenstein came out this past week.
Yes.
And I bought it and I played it. I guess I can kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, it's fun. I mean, you can play it stealthy, which is really cool.
How's the multi-monitor support?
I know there's a flawless fix out there.
Oh, okay.
Because, and we'll talk about this in a second, there was some issues with graphics and frame rate drops, I would find. And so when I did triple monitor, it would be even worse. So I ended up just single monitoring it.
So let's talk about that. The frame rate issues. What?
Well, apparently there's a memory issue with the game. It uses the IdTech 5, and I think they said Rage was using that same engine, and Rage had the same issue where it would just lock up after a while. I know some people, I was talking on the IRC, some people were saying that they really didn't have that issue. Some people are saying online that it's an AMD only issue and NVIDIA users really don't have that issue. But I mean, I'd be playing, I'd die a couple times and you come back and it's like
a slideshow.
Slow motion. Which is kind of cool, but it's all choppy. So
this is something that I think there was an article on the WSGF forums about this, right? Between the whole or on the forums talking about AMD versus NVIDIA and why this game is running the way that it's running.
I think
is that right?
There was some talk about that on the forums. There's been talk about that on all over the web. There's actually an article in Forbes magazine about how not specifically Wolfenstein, but a lot of games that have the NVIDIA seal of approval or whatever they call the way it's meant to be played logo.
Right.
That the deal with that is it's closed in. Those game companies apparently can't talk with AMD
to get the game running properly.
Yeah, and so you have a game where it's good in NVIDIA, it's great in NVIDIA, but AMD's sitting there trying to play catch up with it.
Yeah.
Which, I can kind of see, but it's kind of annoying for consumer-wise. You look at things like, what's that?
Essentially,
the physics. The physics
right.
is the same sort of thing. It's like, oh, this game looks so great, but you have to have NVIDIA. And then AMD, it's just like, gets the kind of the table scraps.
And they're essentially crippling these games, or not crippling, but they're not giving the same amount of attention to these games for AMD as they are with NVIDIA. As a result, the games are not.
Yeah, it's making you have to kind of choose.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to play these games and have them run real well? We'll take our card. Well, you want these games to run real well? Take this card. And so it hurts the consumer. It's like I almost have to go out and buy an NVIDIA card and an AMD card and switch back and forth,
right,
depending on the games, if it's suffering that much. And there's new technologies coming out. Was it G-Sync?
Yeah,
where
the monitors.
I didn't realize this, but apparently there has to be a NVIDIA type chip on the monitor in order for that to work. Now AMD is working on I forget what it's called. It's like Advanced Sync.
But theirs is essentially more like an open source,
and it's running on whatever's there. Yeah, it's running on. There's going to be an update to DisplayPort, and it's going to be running off that update to DisplayPort. AMD even spoke about Mantle. It's like Mantle's going to run on both cards, and so it's almost like one company is like closed off, my precious sort of thing, and the other company is like, you get a car, and you get a car. Everyone gets a car.
And I think that's almost a sign of the financial state of AMD and NVIDIA. NVIDIA is so much larger than AMD financially that they have a right to protect, or they're trying to protect their investment, and they're using their money as leverage. They're paying off game companies to get exclusive access to these titles and then locking everyone out of it. Where AMD, has a smaller budget, and they can't just lucratively throw money at every game and say, hey, we want access to this game and optimize it. Here's a contract and a whole bunch of money. I don't think they have that flexibility that NVIDIA does, and unfortunately, it's like a self-perpetuating machine. How can AMD catch up when they're not going to get revenue and they need revenue to catch up? So it's like this self-perpetuating thing that, you know, they need to get caught up, but they need money to catch up, but they can't catch up unless they have money, and it's kind of like a
catch-22 size situation.
And I think the only solution is you're going to have game companies, you know, like Valve and others, who don't play favorites and say, listen, everyone can have access to this game. We'll get the game working for everyone equally, because we want to access the consumer, you know, the fan base. Because in my opinion, that's a danger to your consumer base. Because let's say 40-50% of your customers have AMD, and you sign an exclusive deal with NVIDIA to get your game working right, and your other, you know, 40-50% of the folks, their game runs with a memory leak, like a slideshow, like you were describing. I mean, you're kind of isolating your fans there.
Yeah.
I just think that's bad business. I mean, I think they should definitely. It's good that they worked with NVIDIA to get it working out of the gate, because you don't want it working out of the gate with both cards running poorly. But if you're going to do it with NVIDIA, it seems like you'd want to do it with AMD as well, so they can both. And
if I read correctly, supposedly part of the agreement NVIDIA has with a game company is you can't have any dealings with AMD. Like, you can't talk to them and be like, well, this isn't working this way. How can we do this?
Yeah, that's silly to me. So it puts a divide.
Yeah,
the developers can try to fix AMD's fixes, but they can't talk to AMD because they have to guess. And AMD can't implement any fixes because they can't. I mean, they can, but they can't talk to the manufacturer that makes the game. So it's like putting a wall between. I find,
and this is just kind of off the top of my head, I find it interesting though. NVIDIA tends to work better with Linux, which is an open source.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And AMD, which is apparently like an open development, doesn't work well with an open source operating system. So I mean, that's really interesting how that works. That was just top of my head. It's like, that should be
backwards.
Whatever. But yeah. I mean, yeah, it's dividing the fan base up. You know,
I think it is big time.
It's instead of creating the best product we can, it's, well, let's create the best product by messing up the other company. Yeah. Not necessarily the best product we can.
Well, let's throw money at let's just throw a bunch of money at somebody and create an exclusive insider group of people who have this one particular piece of hardware. And by the way, I'm an NVIDIA user, so I mean, me being an NVIDIA user, I still think what they're doing is wrong. I mean, it's their right to do whatever they want with their money, but I think as a whole, when they look at the market, I think overall it hurts the market.
The actual article, the author of the article states he's a big proponent of like the NVIDIA Shield, and he's a big NVIDIA user, but he's like, this shouldn't be like this.
No,
and the example he uses is Watch Dogs, which is about to come out this week. But I mean, yeah, it hurts the industry.
I think it does.
It was interesting. He brings up an example how a $500 AMD card, I can't remember what exactly model it was, versus a $300 NVIDIA card, and the NVIDIA card does better than the AMD card.
Simply because of optimization.
Yeah, simply because of the optimization.
Yeah, that's.
And so when it's thinking about when we do these benchmarks, we have to take that in consideration now too, because of that.
Right.
So it doesn't run the best, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best.
Anytime you cut off competition like this, you have two competing major companies who develop graphics cards. Anytime you cut off half the competition, you're going to be in for a world of trouble. I mean, it's great that NVIDIA can optimize stuff. I'm glad for them. I'm glad they're doing well, and they can work tightly with the game developers. That's a good thing. But if you're going to do it by circumventing the competition and cutting out half the market, or roughly half the market, without competition in the market, you're going to run into issues where, price gouging, they can do whatever they want. You have no choice in if they decide to make a decision and close everything up, they hold all the keys and you don't have a choice to switch anymore.
Hindering the competition is not advancing the technology.
No, it's not.
It doesn't do anything.
Even if you're progressing the technology forward, but doing so in a way which hinders other competition. We are cutting out competition. It's a progression forward, but it's not a step in the right direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You are progressing forward and optimizing your stuff, but you're not advancing the industry forward. You're just helping yourself in gaining, better profits with your company in the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. So, we'll follow this news article more.
And we'll link the news article below.
Yeah. So we were talking about Wolfenstein and id Software. Related to that, actually, id's actually joined in the suit with Zenimax against Oculus.
Yeah, it is it's a sub company now of Zenimax now.
Right.
And Zenimax is, I guess, kind of officially started their lawsuit towards Oculus and John Carmack and Palmer Luckey.
Yeah, and John Carmack came from id, right? Mm-hmm. And basically, I'm reading a lawsuit here saying, they're saying the lawsuit filed by Zenimax has no merits whatsoever. Zenimax is claiming that the Oculus, with the help of Carmack, hired away multiple of its former employees who knew confidential and proprietary information about the inner workings of the company and its technologies. Yeah,
so what I've read in this, it's Carmack jumped over, and then Carmack brought over a couple guys, and there's been a 5, 6, or 7 that I've read at least of former id employees that are now at Oculus. I think we talked last week about the guy from 343 Studios.
Yeah.
Turns out he also worked for id before 343 Studios.
Surprise.
And now he's the first party content team lead for Oculus. And so all these id guys are coming over, which makes sense. John Carmack, if he's going to start producing content, is going to want to work with people that he knows and has worked for and can work with efficiently with.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Zenimax is probably just worried about losing all those guys and what they know and the technologies that they developed.
So Zenimax is saying that they're taking some of this proprietary information that they know. I think we said a few episodes back that it had to do with Oculus using the proprietary.
Yeah.
But I guess now that it's become more clear, it is actually having to do with Zenimax afraid that they're going to use the proprietary information.
Right.
Not that they already have used the proprietary information. There's also another point in this article about apparently Palmer Luckey violated one of his NDA agreements with Zenimax when they were working together. So that's part of the lawsuit too as well. And like you said, they are the Oculus side is saying that they are all these all these lawsuits are without merit, and then Zenimax is of course saying otherwise. Right?
I'm sure they're definitely not happy about
Yeah.
him leaving and taking multiple employees. I'm sure they have a right to. They probably feel that they have a right to defend that and their technologies. This we'll have a link for this article, but it was posted on The Verge. But it's basically just saying that id's now involved as well, and that they're going to basically be in a legal battle over this new technology because they feel like they have a right to some of the code and some of the proprietary stuff. So
it's really interesting though that all these people have left id, Zenimax, Bethesda, all that, and gone over to something else. And so now there's this big, we'll talk about Wolfenstein, big product name that is id that's come out. And like I was saying, it's a fun game, but and so it's interesting that milking off the whole id name, like nostalgia.
Yeah, it's
when all this is happening. It's like, oh, we're gonna sue, but milk.
Right. I mean, it's all at the end of the day, it's probably all just about money, anyways. So,
insert song right here. Copyright reasons. All right, right?
Yeah.
So for those of you who are paying attention to the news, you might have seen how there's a big flood in the Balkans.
Yep.
Was it Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia? I can't pronounce this. Herzegovina. I'm so sorry. I'm horrible at pronouncing things. But the Balkans. The Balkans, a big flood. Now there is a charity tournament that was started by the Counterstrike Go global offensive.
Yeah.
Counterstrike Global Offensive players. Started by Ferric Pita. he started the charity tournament and just donating money to help assist with the flooding, which is really, really cool. There was and it's already started. Steel Series donated some things, and they've already donated everything that they were going to donate. But I think you can still donate for it. But it's really, really cool. You know, just gamers getting out there and trying to help every other people.
Yeah, for a good charitable event. And people in need, things like that.
So there's 4 teams going on right now, and if it's being hosted by HLTV.com or HLTV.org. I'm sorry, HLTV.org. So if you want to see the stream, or hopefully they'll have kind of a video of the stream after it's happened. So if you want to go watch that, if you're like an esports viewer or anything like that, if you want to donate, I believe you can still donate to. If you go to HLTV.org/GO4 Balkan, and we'll put that below somewhere around here.
Somewhere in this vicinity.
And so you can click it, donate if you want to. Like I said, you know, the Steel Series giveaways have ended, but I mean, it's a flood. I don't know if any of y'all been in a flood. I've dealt with floods before. It was no fun. But yeah, I mean, donate if you can to help out these people. And
it's very
check out
important.
the
I mean, sometimes as gamers, we don't stop and think about, you know, the importance of other people's lives, and you spend money on your video games and on your equipment and things like that, but your money could potentially, you know, save somebody from having to live without a house or fix their house or things like that. So $5, you know, even might be able to help someone out.
I mean, it's a small little rock we're on, you know. We might as well just help each other out. You know?
If you're buying Transistor or buying some indie game, buy the game and donate. You know, spend $20 instead of $15. I mean,
let's all help each other, man. Peace, not love. But yeah, I mean, we got to help out our fellow man, right? So, HLTV.org/GO4 Balkan. And yeah, we'll let you know if we hear anything about that. So we haven't done one of these in a while. We're going to check out a Battlestation.
Yeah, posted on
our forums by forum user nullsign. We were talking in IRC, kind of jabbing at him for his Johnny Walker Blue Label.
Yeah, his rig is really, really, really clean.
It's nice, yeah.
I liked, I mean, obviously the Blue Label, but he's got an Ergotech stand. He's got a MacBook on the side there. I really like that. I like the vintage looking wooden table. That's pretty cool. And then he's got a really nice bookshelf with. He's at the bottom. He's got some various different.
It starts showing off some of his
novels
things.
That have been signed
Game
by
of
authors.
Thrones,
yeah. Actually, you know what? Okay, I'm wrong here. The MacBook is actually connected to these monitors. He's running. This is a Mac on this setup because I'm looking at the screensaver. This is a Mac setup. But overall, it looks great. He's got an iPad. I really like the table a lot. We see, you go on Reddit and you see a lot of flashy LEDs and glass or glossy tables.
Yeah.
This vintage wooden table is kind of.
I almost want to
refreshing.
suggest. We have that mountain to stand adapter.
Yeah.
Where you can drill into your table. But I really would feel bad for drilling in that table. That's a nice.
Yeah,
solid.
it would be an antique.
It would totally
right?
hold the weight, but it's it could be an antique. It's it's got that finish.
Yeah, the stand is so it makes that the base of the Ergotech stand so wide and so big. It does kind of show up a little bit against the wood, but still, I like the. It just feels a little different from what you're used to. You see most rigs.
It's classy.
Yeah.
It's got that classy look. Not
Definitely.
that.
And I like the bookshelf, and behind the rig, and the various peripherals that he's got around his stuff. The cigars are good, and I don't know. Overall, I thought it was a very well done Battlestation. And I think one thing we want to encourage the forum users to do is post on the thread. If you want your Battlestation talked about, we'll pick the top 5 or top 10.
Or whatever, if it's enough, whatever was posted.
We'd really like to see people post on the WSG forums about their Battlestation, because
showing off, it's like your car or your living room or anything like that.
Yeah.
The way you do your battle station, the way you do your rig setup or desk setup, is like a little bit of you.
Sure. And we like this one today, it's a little bit different than what we traditionally see, right? So we're always interested in seeing
it's
new,
almost,
different things.
It's almost like you've seen Skip's layout before. It's like that whole wooden table he's got going.
Yeah.
So I mean,
very.
It's something nice to see something different.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, we like the LEDs and we've got it going behind us and everything like that. But there's something just simplistic. Just
or even if it's a simple one monitor station and you're not there yet, still, you can post that first, and then in a year or two, when you finally get to your triple monitor station, you can say, "Oh, look how far I came! I had a single monitor, and now I'm in triple."
That's actually
what
how
I did.
That's what I did too.
I mean, most people, that's how they start.
Being in college, it's like, okay, I'll buy a monitor, and then I'll get 2 monitors so that way I can do it when I'm doing papers or something like that. I'll get a 3rd monitor. And what's nice when you do it like that, instead of like bulk all 3, the monitors won't go out at the same time.
Right.
Like one monitor goes old, okay, you replace that one.
Replace that one.
Replace that one. You may not have the exact model, but I mean, it's a cost thing. Oh, all 3 monitors go out. What do I have to pay like $500, $600 for?
Depending on what you get, right?
Or up to like $700, $800, depending upon if you're doing 5 or 3. So if you're always interested in that multi-mon sort of system, doing it step by step, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like you said, you did it, I did it. It works.
Yeah, and it's important to document your process along the way and share with others on the forum. That's what we're here for. We want to see what others have and learn from that. Mm-hmm. So that's it for episode 11 this week. Mm-hmm. As always, I'm Chris, also known as Peanut. You can catch me on Twitter at ComputerLasco. And the main WSGF Twitter account will be at WSGF. And
I'm Simon, also known on the forums and the internets and the interwebs as The Destroyer. You can catch me on the Twitter at The Destroyer FTW.
Yeah, so we pretty much we stay on Twitter all the time. We also are on the forums. We're on IRC. You can find us anywhere on there. On the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Comment! Yeah. We want to hear what you think.
Comments are always important. Press the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this. And, if you want to see this weekly podcast, just hit the subscribe button and you'll get updates every week.
Speaking of subscribers, we've passed 2,000 subscribers on the WSGF YouTube. So congratulations to us, and thank you all you
the viewers is what's important.
So I mean, we're doing this for y'all. So we've had a steady increase of subscribers since we started.
Yeah, so tell your friends, even if you're not a multi-monitor user, you don't even know what the site is, check out the site. You don't have to be a multi-monitor user to enjoy it.
We don't specifically talk about everything multi-monitor.
We will definitely target multi-monitor and VR technologies, but we are a pretty much pure PC gaming podcast. We talk about everything.
Thanks for watching. Once again, this is WSGF News, and we will see you next week.
See you later.